Well, good morning, everybody. Here we are, time for Living Low Sodium with Mary Schepp, brought to you in part by Cannabis CBD Shop, CannabisCBDShop.com, 815-687-2608. Give them a call for all your CBD needs. Mary, good morning. How you doing?
I'm good. I can't figure out my phone because my phone is awesome and I love everything about it. It's fantastic. I am so happy I got a new phone because, I want to, if it wasn't for you sitting in front of me, I probably would have thrown it in your general direction at this point.
Well, then I'm glad that you haven't launched it at my head anyway.
Right. So. You stopped me from damaging my phone. So the elephant in the room. See, I wish you guys could see Pete off camera. Because, I'm not the only one that changed my hair. I got bored and I dyed my hair black, which for those of you that haven't known me more than 5 minutes, is my natural hair color. It just has not been black in a couple decades. So I figured, why not? Which it's funny because a friend of mine was like, being brave, going black, trying something bold. I was like, it's not really that brave and it's not really that bold.
No, it's your same hair color, but looks nice. Looks good.
Just been gray for so long that I forgot what it was like to not have any gray. So I figured, why not? And it makes my hair look really long. I mean, it was before. I mean, dye doesn't make your hair grow. So
no,
it's
but I was just thinking, well, you usually have it in a ponytail when you do the show.
That's true. I usually do have
I'm like, I'm sitting here thinking, holy cow, you really do have really friggin' long hair.
I feel like, who was it I was trying to think of? There was a character in the movie The Crow. He's the bad guy, and he's a dude. But every time I walk by the mirror, because I'm still getting used to the fact that my hair is black again, and I see this long black hair, and this is exactly what his hair. I mean, it's not his hair; it's a wig, but it's exactly what he looks like. So I thought it was funny.
Yeah, well, I don't know. People talk about that movie, The Crow. I've only ever seen it once, and that was when it came out, and I really can't actually even remember it. But, speaking of The Crow, which has absolutely nothing to do with living low sodium,
right.
Unless you're eating low sodium snacks while you're watching
maybe
The Crow, perhaps, what do crows eat? I don't know, seeds, berries.
Carrion.
I don't know. Okay, whatever that is.
Dead animals.
Dead animals. Okay. Dead animals have a specific name called carrion.
Yeah.
Huh. I read dictionaries. I have never heard that word.
Yeah.
Hey, you gave me a new word today.
Word of the day.
Yeah, word of the day
Carrion.
on living low sodium with Mary Schepp. Carrion.
Dead animals.
Dead animals.
Oh,
well, speaking of dead animals, you'll be talking about chicken and some meatballs and some other stuff that have dead animals in it.
Right. Once you make them that, I mean, not roadkill necessarily, but that's, so I wanted to touch on something first because, I share out the event for today, which, you create Facebook event so people can find me on Facebook and the whole 9 yards. And of course, somebody had made a comment that, salt isn't evil. Processed foods are. And my response was, I agree. And I think it's funny how many people see the title of my show, Living Low Sodium, and they think that I'm going to be chastising you for, eating salt or tell you that you shouldn't have any salt or you shouldn't do anything like that. It's necessary for life. Like, you have to have it. It's, I'm not saying to not eat any salt at all. You just need to watch it sometimes based on, your condition and whatever. So if you want more on that, you can watch any one of our other episodes. But today's what do you cook when you don't want to turn on your oven? Like when it's 9,000 degrees outside, what do you cook when it's too hot to cook?
Your air conditioner.
So can you believe that Ben and I have not turned our air conditioner on yet?
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Ooh, ours has been running. I mean, Mary Catherine turned that central air on a while back. So
Yeah, we have not turned our air on. So there's that. But I mean, it is what it is. We're not big air conditioning people. And on top of that, my air conditioning system is really old. So it's very possible that if we turn it on, it might die. And the last thing I feel like right now is, the expenditure of an HVAC system. Of course, we had it looked at and it should struggle along just fine. But I don't know. We've never been air conditioning people. So we don't even have our air on. So whenever I have the opportunity to not turn on my air conditioning, I don't. I'd rather just open some windows and turn on a fan. It's my cup of tea. But apparently you don't care and will just crank up I should say Mary Catherine will crank up your oven and just turn on your air, because I don't think you're the one turning the oven on.
No.
Unless you're turning it on for her.
No. The only time I actually ever turn the oven on is when I'm making bacon. That's it.
You make bacon in the oven? I mean, I know you can. I just never have.
Always.
Really?
I never do it any other way, because you get nice, long, flat, crispy strips. They don't curl up on you.
See, the last time I tried to do that, it made my oven smoke and it was a big hot mess, and I would just rather
goodness
stuff.
No, you just look at always gauge anywhere from, depending on the thickness of the bacon. Like if you've got nice thick bacon steaks, it's going to take a little longer, but the thickness of the bacon is what gauges your baking time. I always put it in on a cookie sheet. I cover it with the no stick foil, so it just lifts up nicely. It doesn't stick to the foil or anything. And I always put it at 400 degrees. And then if it's thin sliced bacon, maybe about 15 to 18 minutes to get the crispiness that I like. If it's the thicker slice stuff, that can go up to about, depending on how thick, can go up to about 25 minutes at 400 degrees. And then you get a nice crispy every single time. Never fails.
Yeah, that's funny. I
always
do it on the stove. And so I have a friend of ours that she hates the smell of bacon.
How can you hate the smell of bacon?
That's exactly what I said.
Something wrong with your brain if you hate the smell of bacon. I will say, though, my middle son hates bacon. Kent has words.
Words and stuff?
Yeah.
Cold salad season, broccoli salad, pasta salad, veggies. See, Kent just did my show. Peace out. I'm done. That's it. That's
okay.
My show.
All right,
Thanks,
Kent, you jumped ahead to everything.
No,
all right, this episode of Living Low Sodium has been brought to you by the amazing support of Cannabis CBD Shop. Tune in next week for another 10 minutes.
Right?
Anyway.
Brought to you by Kent Jones.
Yeah.
No, she hates the smell of bacon, and she's not a big fan of grilling in the winter. So she uses her grill to make bacon
all the time. Okay. Because it's outside.
Good morning, Nora. Yeah, it's she makes bacon. That's it. That's the only time she'll make it, is if she can cook it outside, which I'm fine. My sister used to do that too, simply because, the bacon in the grease, it does get all over your kitchen.
True, but to me, that's just like, it's better than turning on a scented pot that's sitting right next to you.
I don't have any issues.
I'd rather walk in and have my house smell like bacon than anything else. It's lovely to me.
Yeah, I'm.
Oh, bacon.
Yes. Oh, if you guys could see the look on Pete's face. Well, he did that. Ooh.
Makes me happy.
But I mean, sometimes you just don't feel like making a big meal, and other times it's just too hot to turn on your stove. And a friend of mine, flat out, she lives in an old farmhouse, so half her house just doesn't have central air. They have one air conditioning unit in their bedroom, and that's it.
Mm.
So if she turns the stove on when it's 90 degrees out here, she's going to cook herself out of her kitchen. So she just doesn't. My favorite cheat that's super easy is rotisserie chicken from the grocery store, because you can make just about anything from it. And surprisingly, a lot of the grocery stores offer the rotisserie chickens now that you can buy. Jewel that I go to, one of the flavor options is actually no salt added. So It makes it fantastically easy for me to do just about anything I want to do with it. And then the other thing I discovered is a lot of times if you ask them, they'll rotisserie just about anything. They'll rotisserie a pork roast. They'll rotisserie something else if you ask for it. So whether you're just trying to avoid cooking and have it in your fridge, or if you're making, like if you're doing a party or something,
Yeah.
and you want 6 rotisserie birds,
They'll do all that up for you.
You can just, you just have to pre-order it, just like because people don't realize you can cater through Jewel. In most grocery stores, those big giant all that stuff that they offer in the deli.
Yeah.
You can cater the wings,
So you just
salads,
buy an entire pan.
Right. You just tell them I want
yeah.
6 chickens, or I want a whole pan of fried chicken, or a whole pan of pasta salad.
Oh, wow.
And they will cater your parties. And a lot of people don't know that, but
bling, the more you know.
Right?
Yeah.
See, we've learned all sorts of things. We've learned about roadkill and catering from grocery stores.
Yeah, there you go.
A cornucopia of knowledge.
You are. You're a cornucopia of something.
In my coffee that's supposed to be a latte, and it's...
Oh, do you need something a little... Do you need me to get you a little bit?
I might have to have you dump some of that.
Here, I'll go do that while you talk about your next thing.
So... I don't know where to put this, where you can grab it. I'll put it on the Bourbon Girl's face. Bourbon gal ordered a latte from Dunkin', and I think it's pretty much just coffee and cream. So there's a lot of different ways you can cheat when you don't want to turn your oven. Obviously, you always have your grill, which is my go-to, and even those little counter grills, like the George Foreman grills and stuff like that you can do in your kitchen. They still put off a little heat in your kitchen, but it's a way less than what you would. Obviously, if you're turning on your actual stove or your cooktop. And I don't think people think of all of the different things that you can grill. You know, everybody thinks the standard grilling fare is, steaks and burgers. And there's so much, and especially if you're lucky enough to have a grill with a side burner, you pretty much have a full
yeah.
You can do anything out. And that's what I think people forget is when you're purchasing a grill, if you get one with that little side burner, when it's 9,000 degrees outside and you don't want to heat up your house and you do want to make bacon or you do want to make something in a boiling pot or whatever, just having that side burner on your grill is a lifesaver.
Yeah, it's nice.
So, but you could...
Well, if you got a little gas grill.
Right.
If you got a charcoal or wood burning grill, it's a whole different thing. But
and even the hot plates you take cooking, same thing. I had a friend up in Michigan, had a farm, and they had a hot plate outside for when they didn't want to turn their stove on inside because they didn't want to heat up the house.
Okay. Well, I mean, if that works, why not?
Hey, man, air conditioning's expensive.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it, though? It's like, I don't think it's been that expensive for us with it on.
My ComEd bill was $54. Without my air conditioning on. So.
I'll have to ask Mary Catherine. She's the one that handles that.
It's expensive.
Yeah, I don't think it's that. I mean,
it's not $7,000. It's expensive, but it's more than $55.
I don't think it's been over 100.
Yeah, well, we have a couple thousand square feet, so I guess. I'm thinking of what it was when I turned it on last year.
But
the things that you can grill.
Well, you don't live where you did last summer.
I did. We moved in August, so we moved in the dead of winter.
In the dead of winter. August, the dead of winter. A new show.
I'm on the wrong zone.
A new show on 21/6 at August,
I'm
the
on
dead
the other
of
side
winter.
of the planet.
Yeah.
Oh my good gosh. But like grilling pizza, grilling fruit. Of course, you can grill any kind of vegetable that you want. They have these little pans that I buy. Usually I find them at the grocery store in their seasonal section. It's like I want to say chicken wire, but it's not chicken wire. It's the holes in it are much smaller than that. But it's just a little tinfoil type grate that's rigid so that if I want to cook vegetables on the grill, I don't have to worry about them falling through the grates.
Okay.
So it's just like this hash that can... Thanks. Yeah, they already did. That's my heating and air company. Thank you very much, Gold Shield Services. So So I use those so that whenever I cook vegetables, I don't, because they're super cheap that you can get, and I'm sure you can get them at just about any grocery store or kitchen supply store, like Kitchen Outfitters in Crystal Lake. But things that you don't think of that you can grill, like spaghetti and meatballs.
Yeah, I saw that on your notes, and I'm like, what?
So,
Well, I actually said what?
yeah, literally verbatim.
Yeah.
So if you take like they call them a hotel pan, but if you take a kitchen, like the little tinfoil disposable baking dishes, or
Yeah.
even just a brownie pan, or something of that nature, casserole dish, put it on your grill. You put cherry tomatoes and some onions, and if you want a little bit of wine, some basil, some pepper, some Italian herbs, and put it on your grill and let it boil up.
Yeah.
While that's boiling, you make meatballs the same way. Whatever meat you want, ground beef or lamb, put some Italian seasonings on it, an egg. I put yogurt in mine. Make your little meatballs, and you just make them big enough so they don't fall through the grate. So you do little mini meatballs.
Huh.
And just put them right on the grill.
Huh.
Toss them and turn them. And then if you have a burner on your grill, you can boil the pasta noodles. If not, those you'd have to do inside. But once you actually cook your noodles, you just throw everything together, and you have essentially, if you want a saucy sauce instead of just like the burst tomato type sauce, you can actually put like the San Marzano tomatoes in there and crush them up and make a pomodoro sauce.
Yeah.
But you can do all of it on the grill. So you don't have to people don't think about it.
I've done breakfast on the grill,
Right.
Pancakes and such, because like Ken says here, cast iron
Yep.
pan for the grill. I've got those cast
The
iron,
griddle.
like the griddle plates, the flat cast iron things.
Flat on one side, grilling
yeah.
on the other.
Yeah, I've got a few of those, and that you just put on top of the grill, and away you go. You can do pancakes, and you can do anything you can do on a grill.
Right. I just think that people don't realize how much stuff that you can actually grill up. You get stuck in that rut of thinking I can grill burgers and steak when you can do pizza and meatballs and all of that stuff. And the other thing, so it's not super popular here, and you need a little bit different equipment. And I mean, I suppose you can do it on a smaller scale on your grill, but a boil.
A boil, like boiling?
Like a shrimp boil or a crawfish boil.
I've done we've done, what, I don't know, I don't remember what Mary Catherine called it, but like you put it in it's not in a pan or anything, you like put all the stuff in a foil.
Right.
And then you just,
pocket.
Yeah, like a big pocket.
Morning, Dad.
And it's got like this stuff, there's not like a lot of water in it, but
right. It steams itself just from its own moisture.
Yeah. And that's really good.
I forget what the name is. There's a French term for that because I use those a lot when I grill. That top rack.
Le hot pocket.
le hot pocket.
Yeah.
I would look up the French term, and I guarantee you that's not even close.
Probably not.
But I like it. I'm going to use that when I make one. I might almost want to grill tonight just so I can tell that I'm making a hot pocket. I'll have to say it with a French accent, though. But I do that a lot, where that little top rack in many grills that kind of sets up and behind, I'll make those little pockets where you put a bunch of potatoes or something in there, and you seal up that little pouch and stick it up there so they steam while you're cooking everything else. It's absolutely fantastic. But boils are more popular down south, where people do actually eat crawfish and stuff like that on a regular basis, or coastal cities. But one of the bars I used to work at, a couple times this summer, they had a company come out and do the boil. And I mean, the pots, I could fit in a pot. They were huge pots. And they were out way before the sun came up just to get the water to a boil, because it takes like 2 hours in a pot that big,
I would think,
to get the water up to temperature.
Man.
But they had one pot that is all seafood. They had one pot that's corn. They had one pot that's like potatoes and all these other things. And it is a boil. Everything's just boiled and then thrown on a plate, dumped on a thing. And you can do that on a smaller scale at home too. There's no reason that you can't, do the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of boiled dinner. I absolutely love it. But
To me, it just seems like a giant stew. But it's not really,
No.
is it? Because
there's no sauce. There's no.
Yeah, there's no sauce because you're scooping it out.
And you scoop it out, and it's
the
usually in a
goes
boil.
away.
You would probably love it, especially a Cajun boil, because usually what happens is many times, especially that when it's done traditionally, the seafood and everything all goes in one pot. Nowadays, with the amount of vegetarians and all that, most times they try and keep the two separate. But once it's done, because it's got the insert where they can pick it up and it strains the water out, they just dump it on a table covered with butcher paper, and then douse it with spicy Cajun seasoning.
Yeah, I probably would like that.
You would love the crap. And then you just sit there and be fat and have stuff dripping down to your elbows.
Hey, I'm sitting here being fat right now with none of that. So
add a little bit of that and you'll be a happy little fatty.
Yeah, you betcha, buddy.
That's funny. But yeah, I mean, people don't think about doing a boil, and they're fun. They're even on a small scale. If it's just you and your family, your kids will probably love it, especially if they're seafood lovers. And then of course, you always have your slow cooker, your crock pot or whatever.
Yeah.
I personally, since I went low sodium, I'm not a huge fan of my crock pot, in all honesty. I use it for chili and things of that nature, but truth be told, I don't, without being able to add salt and other seasonings, I don't get the flavor out of a crock pot going low sodium that I do out of cast iron or a Dutch oven, because you don't have that Maillard reaction.
Oh, yeah.
So if I don't have that sear on either the vegetable or the meat to get that chemical reaction to add that flavor component, that umami, when you put everything in a pot, and the first probably 6 months to a year that I was low sodium and I was cooking, and I was going, how come this does, like, nothing I do? How is it I can do this 8 million other ways? Like if I made a pot roast or something, but when I did it in the crock pot, so I find that if I'm going to do it in the crock pot, I have to sear the meat, sear the onions, even when I make my chili, I cook all the meat and everything in a pan to get that crispy bit on some of the beef, and then put it all in the crock pot to sit for 6 hours for those flavors to meld. So it's an easy way to let it stew for hours to get the flavors to all join together and be happy and fun. But the actual cooking part of it, I still do on the stove in a cast iron. So I don't use my crock pot as much more than a retaining vessel to keep it warm for long periods of time. But if I didn't want to use my stove, it is an option.
Yeah, I like crock pots. I love cooking stuff in a crock pot. I really do.
You also can have salt, so you can just add some salt to it.
This
and it brings
is true.
out the flavor.
This is true.
Without salt, I need that Maillard reaction.
I will say, though, since doing this show with you, since producing your show, I don't use near the amount of added salt that I used to. I just don't.
That makes me happy.
There's just, I've discovered there's actually just not really a need to if you taste something first. Because I was always, let's cook it and then eat it.
Right.
Always.
Right.
Now it's like, okay, cook it up and then taste it. Do I want a little extra salt? Nah, this is fine. And because I even used to put extra salt in like soup out of a can.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
same. I used to salt my ketchup.
I did too.
I would eat salted French fries with ketchup that's loaded with salt to begin with.
Like you put your salt on the plate.
And then I would salt my ketchup because this isn't salty enough. Salt my watermelon.
And I
salt
like
my tomatoes.
Did you ever mix mustard with your ketchup?
Always.
I do too.
Yeah.
Other people go, oh, that's so gross.
Put them next to each other, and then like corn dogs or mini corn dogs. Yeah, use a corn dog to swirl it up.
Yes.
Exactly.
Either that, or I'll just squirt it around and then mix it up.
We're kindred spirits.
Holy crap. You and Kent are the only two people I've discovered that do some food things the way I do.
That's funny.
Like Kent is the first person I ever met who also ate fried peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Those are delicious.
I absolutely love them.
Public service announcement: if you have not had a grilled or fried peanut butter and jelly sandwich,
oh my God,
it's fantastic. It's even better if you coat it in Captain Crunch.
Oh, I haven't done that. Ooh, I'm gonna give that a try.
Squish up some Captain Crunch so it doesn't destroy your mouth. And then you make your grilled cheese, and then you squish it so
Yeah.
the outside is crusted with the Captain Crunch,
Ah.
or the peanut butter Captain Crunch and the peanut butter crunch berries.
Ooh, yeah, on a peanut butter jelly. Yeah, ooh, there you go.
Yeah.
I haven't tried that one yet.
I'm all for fatty food. It's funny, for being the healthiest eater that most people know, I am like the queen of how can I find junk food to put in my belly.
Oh, you know what I had the other day? Mega stuffed Oreos.
See,
Oh,
I can't get behind those because it throws off the cookie to frosting ratio for me.
If there was just a bag of Oreo frosting, I'd just eat that. I don't need the cookie. It just keeps my hands from getting all sticky on the frosting.
Are you a milk and cookie or just a cookie kind of guy?
I'm a cookie in any liquid. Milk, coffee,
Really?
Kool-Aid, soda, it doesn't matter.
I will say ginger snaps or ginger crisps. Super, super thin, crispy ginger cookies dipped in coffee are to die for.
Yeah.
A friend of mine turned me on to those years and years and years ago, and they're absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And I love everything about them. And it's funny because going back to that first comment I made about someone making mention that, low sodium or that salt is not evil, processed foods are, on a comment about my show. I invite you to watch my show because I don't tell you that, low sodium or salt is evil. I pronounce that, or promote that balance is key.
Yeah.
And
I balance best on my fat ass. Yeah.
That's funny. But I try, and I lost my train of thought now.
I'm
laughing
sorry.
At this lady in your fat ass.
No, that lady in I should say my flat ass. It's about the only place I don't gain weight. But you were talking about balance is key,
Right.
in that
the cookie. So it's
you
just
don't
funny
you don't
'cause
push anything. You don't
I
push
don't.
any food as evil. I've never heard you downgrade anything other than the fact that as the hero that you are,
Cantaloupe.
you eat a banana, and you do not like cantaloupe.
Cantaloupe is the only one that I'll say is evil because I can't even try it. It makes me puke.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
The smell?
Yeah, something you cut into a cantaloupe.
See, bananas do that to me as well. And someone left a banana in our studio. I don't know who it was. But I ultimately threw it away because I left it alone. I actually did. I thought, well, this belongs to somebody. But I ultimately threw it away because it was turning brown and it was smelling up the room like a freaking banana, and it was just making me sick. So.
Oh yeah. So no, I don't really think any food. Well, like I said, a cantaloupe maybe is evil, but I love the creativity behind finding ways around stuff or finding the healthier option, and that's where I'm not one to tell you that you shouldn't have ice cream, you shouldn't have pizza, you shouldn't have bacon, you shouldn't have whatever. But a lot of times there's a healthier option. If you're going to get ice cream, if you want ice cream and you choose to go to a place like Julianne's where I go, it's a scratch made custard with real ingredients. They partner with local farmers markets. So all the way down to like the strawberries and the blueberries and stuff like that they put in their shakes. It's still ice cream. It's, it's just, that's it. It's ice cream. You can't do anything about it, but it's a healthier option versus the processed foods and things of that nature. So it's not that I'm against having, cookies and things of that nature. You need to be happy and you need to enjoy yourself. And I am the first one to tell you that I am an Oreo fan. I had some last night, as a matter of fact.
Did you?
I personally get the Oreo thins, not because I like less frosting, but because I can eat more of them. So instead of being able to have one or two cookies, I can have a handful of cookies and feel like I actually got to have cookies. Because Dawn, the double stuff and the mega stuff that Pete was talking about.
And mega stuff. I'm mega stuff all the way.
I can probably have one or two of those cookies, which to me is just a sin. It's like eating 2 Doritos. Who does that?
Yeah, true.
So,
I ate Doritos last night, as a matter of fact.
So if I gave you the option of 2 double stuffed cookies or a handful of the thins, I'm going to eat a handful of the thins.
Yeah, see,
I feel
still,
like I got more of a treat because I keep eating it. So I get to eat a snack for 10 minutes.
Instead of 2 cookies.
Instead of 2 cookies, and then I'm sitting there pouting like a 4-year-old because I want more cookies.
See, no, I'd be good with 2 mega stuff. I'd be like, ooh, mega stuff. I'm happy. So I'd be all right with that because I usually don't eat. Well, I take that back because I sat there and ate an entire sleeve, which is about, I think on the mega stuff, I think that's 5 or 6.
Yeah, no,
on an entire sleeve. I ate like
Good
an
morning,
entire
Julie.
sleeve.
Good morning, Dawn.
Oh, actually, just a few days ago.
Yeah, my dad says we should have seen the spread. He cooked. Of course, if you watch the show, you probably know at this point that my dad's a Navy man,
Yep.
and he's taken to once a year. He has his buddies that he was in command over. I think on the USS Independence. Might have been a different ship, but he's been on a couple ships. But he has his buddies out once a year. So this year they came out for the 4th of July. So my dad spent the last few days cooking for all of his Navy buddies so they can sit and share stories this weekend. So, but yeah, I love the creativity behind things like, when it's too hot to cook, or when you're cooking for an event, or you're cooking for a lot of people, or you're just trying to find healthier options. So I'm lucky in the fact that when I had to go low sodium and had to change my diet, and this is what I find is funny, because if I could name my show like Living Low Sodium and Potassium and Magnesium and
or you could just call
protein, high calorie, low fat, like
you could just call it Living Low.
Right.
Or though that might have a different, living in balance. There you go.
But it's,
I don't know.
It's funny because
here we are.
Right. I mean, the number one diet prescribed by doctors, I bet the two are probably in tied, is either low sodium or sugar. Those are the two things that most doctors, especially if you're over 40, are going to tell you that you need to watch.
Yeah.
Sodium for heart conditions and insulin for insulin resistance. So it's, hostage crisis, 42 years.
Does that maybe a go?
Yeah, senior chief, yeah.
And
so
they like their old senior chief. Well, that's nice. I remember watching that on TV. The Iran hostage crisis. I remember watching that. Wow. Thanks, Hal.
Yep. Thank you, Dad, for your service. And all of his buddies that were out having his biscuits and gravy, which is why I make biscuits and gravy. And thanks to him, it's his fault that I am so critical of biscuits and gravy.
As you should be.
Yes. Because there is bad biscuits and gravy.
There is.
Which is a shame. It should be a sin. It should be illegal. But I was lucky that coming up with healthier options of things like my sloppy joes, for instance. It was one of the first recipe I made when I went low sodium was my pizza sauce, which to this day, I've got quite a few people who absolutely love my pizza sauce and share it all the time. And it warms my heart every time they do, because it's something I created. But my sloppy joes, I shared with my neighbor the other day, which it's funny because she responded back almost instantly with a nope. I was like, oh, she didn't like them. I was like, all right, whatever, no. And I share it because she's always honest with me.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't like Brussels sprouts. I shared a Brussels sprout dish and I just asked her to try it. And she's like, yeah, no, I get the flavors, but I'm not a Brussels sprout person. Didn't like it. So she's always honest with me. And that's what I want. I hate when people are like, oh yeah, it was great. I want you to be honest. I'm trying to write a freaking cookbook. Yeah. Hey, like, don't powder coat or sugar coat or whatever. But it wasn't until like a week later, she's like, oh, I forgot to tell you. She's like, those sloppy joes were amazing. And she was super excited. Come to find out, because both of our phones are screwed up, the nope was response to a previous text message that hadn't gone through and just happened to go through after I handed her the food. So it was just kind of a miscommunication. So it was just pretty funny. But yeah, the sloppy joes, it's a healthier option than Manwich. And I was actually surprised to find out how many people grew up with homemade sloppy joes. My mom made Manwich. My mom wasn't a big cooker. So
mine neither, and I don't remember anything even close to
spaghetti sauce out of a jar and
spot.
manwich out of a can.
No, I was introduced to the sloppy Joe style of sandwich at friends' homes. I never that, and then at school, in grade school when we had those for lunch.
But so my sloppy Joe they're really, really good, and it's a healthier option, and it's super easy to make. But so coming up with things to make, and it's funny because at face value, like Kent said in the very beginning of the show when he chimed in, the things to make are pretty simple. Salads, wraps, broccoli slaws, any kind of slaw for that matter, vegetable salads, things of that nature. But a lot of times people don't think of like tostadas or tacos.
Yeah, we do not do any of that kind of food at our house, like ever. Because I'm the only one that would eat it.
Really, Mary Schepp won't have tacos or tostadas?
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like Mexican flavored.
No, we just never have. And she just doesn't care for. No, I take that back. Let me correct myself. Because our kids, Luke and Lex, they love the holy living crud out of Taco Bell. Taco Bell, if you're listening, here's a show for you to sponsor. We'll make one. Because my kids love it. And so we have gotten the Taco Bell mix, the kits. Yeah. And so she has made that for them, but that's about the extent of it because,
So, not going to lie, my husband loves Taco Bell. So every once in a while we have Taco Bell. So not last night, the night before we had Taco Bell. And we were both laughing because if you say, what do you want for dinner? And if you say you want tacos, it's okay. Do we want tacos from El Sombrero or do we want tacos from Taco Bell? Because those two tacos are not the same.
Yeah, not even close. Not even close. I mean,
it's just funny how they're both called tacos, but they are not, and they're both meat with vegetables, but it is an authentic Mexican taco versus Taco Bell, or not even close.
It seems like every single type of Mexican food is tortilla, beans, meat, cheese, vegetables. Tortilla, meat, cheese. It's the same thing, just in a different shape.
Right.
So, yeah.
But that's the thing is you don't think of like tostadas or tacos
and
to make them any other way other than Mexican food. But
a taco is really just a lazy sandwich.
It is.
It's just a single slice of bread. It's super thin. It's just a single slice sandwich. That's all it is. You can taco a peanut butter and jelly if you wanted to.
You could. So I make, I don't know if you'd call it a taco or a wrap or a burrito or whatever, but I guess breakfast burrito. I do those frequently. So I keep the tortilla shells in my fridge all the time because you can microwave eggs. Scramble up a couple eggs, put them in a bowl, and you microwave them, and you just have to check it like every 15 seconds and stir it because they will explode. Once they cook, if you just let it keep going, the air inside will just keep expanding and it will blow up in your microwave. But you can scramble eggs in like 2.5 minutes in your microwave, so you don't have to turn the stove on. And you throw them with some salsa and some chopped onions or something and some cheese in a tortilla, and you have a breakfast burrito in like 3 seconds.
Do you keep corn tortillas or flour tortillas?
I keep both. Okay. Ben likes flour. I like corn. I like the flour tortillas.
I prefer the flour.
But they're salted, so it's hard to find unsalted flour tortillas.
Yeah.
And the corn ones are unsalted. So corn tortillas are usually 0 or very low sodium.
Yeah.
They don't hold together well. They tend to break apart. So you have to, if you let.
So you don't like cook the tortilla.
Sometimes I'll heat it up in the microwave for a couple seconds just so it's warm.
So you don't like fry it up or put it in the oven or anything like that. Because I'm retracting what I said a bit ago because I've made my own burritos like often.
Yeah.
Because like again, when that
just
happens,
about anything a burrito.
I cook it. Mary Catherine does not care for that kind of food. She just doesn't. And that's fine. She's very, very much a burgers and meat and potatoes herself, her own palate, meat and potatoes.
Those burrito very well.
But
the amount of times that my husband and I
she doesn't care for the tortillas.
I like the lettuce wraps too. if you take Boston lettuce, Bib lettuce,
That's like a lettuce
it's a little cup.
sandwich.
and the nice thing about them is if there's any kind of sauce,
Yeah.
it holds all that sauce in there.
Yeah.
But I absolutely love lettuce wraps, tortillas, tostadas, and you can put anything on a tostada. You put some salad dressing with some chicken and some cheese on top, and it's not even a Mexican tostada. It's just it's like a salad on a giant potato chip. It's nice.
Oh yeah, it's just a plate.
Right. It's an edible plate.
It's an edible plate. So yeah.
So the funny thing is the salads that I have started making, a lot of times I add chopped walnuts or mushrooms. They make them more filling, so it is actually kind of a meal in and of itself. But those kinds of things oftentimes make the best kind of wrap or taco or sandwich. Because when you make that kind of salad, if you add some sliced steak, some flank steak, or some chicken, or pork or anything like that, and yes, you could just leave it vegetarian, but I'm a meat eater, so I like to add whatever. They make fantastic tostadas and wraps and lettuce wraps and tortilla wraps and burritos and all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't have to just stay a salad. And contrary to popular belief, you can have just a salad for dinner.
Yeah, you can.
I mean,
it's not exciting.
Well, Ben and I have taco salad quite frequently.
I mean,
granted, it's got meat and Doritos in it, but
yeah, that's a little different than,
But if you have a steak salad, it's still a salad. You just have flank steak sliced up and mixed into it.
Yeah, I'm just not. Well, Mary Catherine has given me like the salad with like the chicken in it.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what you call it. Not
Caesar
chicken
salad or chopped
Caesar
salad?
chopped salad, something like that. And it's nice. It's not bad, but it's well, I mean, I mean, it's food that magically appears in front of me, which I absolutely love, and I didn't have to make myself.
It's just the vegetable to meat ratio is too much for you.
A bit, yeah. It's just I'm entering into the vegetable world. I've been
slowly
eating.
One carrot at a time.
Yeah. So actually, even had carrots last night with my dinner. Had brats and carrots and Doritos.
See. I'm starting to become a big fan of like the flatbread grilled pizzas. Because if you search for it, you can get some pretty good low sodium flatbreads, and if you're feeling adventurous, you can make your own. It's not super difficult. It's kind of like borderline on a focaccia.
Yeah.
And those, one of my favorite from scratch is if you roast garlic cloves, they spread like butter. Village Squire here in town actually serves it as an appetizer, roasted garlic. You get a tray, an entire head of garlic roasted with the top shaved off, so you can literally pluck all of those little garlic cloves out of it. I'm a fatty, so I just grab it by the rib ball and squeeze all of them out on the plate at one time. But you get little toast crisps and olives and carrots and a balsamic, and it's an amazing, amazing dish. I could eat the whole thing just for dinner on its own.
Wow.
But if you take that roasted garlic, roast it 45 minutes in an oven and, about 400 degrees. You can do it on your grill as well. I just wrap it in foil with a little olive oil. And you spread it on flatbread or pizza dough like butter. So instead of sauce, it's a layer of roasted garlic and then any kind of cheese. I tend to like the stinky cheeses, like a goat cheese. And then do a spicy, peppery arugula and chicken, and it's absolutely amazing. Super easy, super fast. You can do it on your grill.
It sounds very Greek.
Yeah, it probably is. Add some olives to it if I could eat olives, because unfortunately, brining process of olives makes them primarily off limits for me.
Yeah.
So it's yeah. I got my dad and both my dad and my father-in-law are now addicted to the Dax spices.
The Dax, yeah. There you go.
I can't. I mean, what can I say?
Apple butter for extra biscuits. Oh, Hal, you're becoming my best friend, and I haven't even met you. So
yeah,
No.
Apple butter is a good thing. And he does make good biscuits.
But you have to have extra biscuits when you have biscuits and gravy. Usually,
You have to.
for me, it's honey that goes on
I thought that
those.
was a written rule.
So yeah, that's kind of the deal. You have to have extra biscuits when you make biscuits and gravy, because after you have biscuits and gravy, you want a little something sweet.
Right.
So a little honey goes on there. I've never considered apple butter.
It's amazing.
I like apple butter. I just never thought of putting it on a biscuit after eating biscuits and gravy.
Apple butter, Jimmy Dean sage sausage, and a little bit of cheddar cheese after the fact makes a nice little lunch sandwich.
Well, there's something to
Yep.
put in my back pocket. Not literally, but yeah.
I'm sorry, because I have a tendency to picture things literally. I just pictured you walking around with a biscuit in your back pocket.
Yeah. I mean,
What's that? A snack.
that's my biscuit in my back pocket. Quit looking at my biscuit.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Are you eyeing my biscuit?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. So a side note of having recipes handy, or, no pun intended, in your back pocket
Yeah.
for when it's too hot, is those same recipes work really well a lot of times when you have no power. So living in an area like we live in, where not maybe so much this year, but when you get summer storms and you go without power for hours at a time or days at a time, and you don't want to open your refrigerator, because the more you open your refrigerator, the less time you have for how long your food's going to keep. Because, typically perishables inside there are only going to keep for about 4 hours. A lot of times you can pull stuff out of the refrigerator that you'll use when the power goes out, and put it in a cooler, because fruits and vegetables and jams do just fine outside of the refrigerator. So most people put them in the refrigerator because they're used to them being cold, or they want them cold, or they're going to preserve them. And a lot of times people put things in a refrigerator they think should go in a refrigerator that don't. Like tomatoes shouldn't be put in a refrigerator. It changes the texture of the tomato.
That's where, especially after they've been sliced, that's where they always go. I always put a sliced tomato in the fridge.
Have you ever been to Subway and the tomatoes look sad?
Yeah.
That's why.
Huh.
Because they're chilled. They shouldn't be. And I say this as I have a sliced tomato in my fridge right now, and that's only because I had tomato on my sandwich last night, and in the event that my husband wanted to make a sandwich and also wanted tomato on his. But if it's in there for more than a few hours, the texture completely changes. They start to get that broken down mealy taste, and they get a little squishy.
Still a tomato. I like tomatoes. I do.
But they're not supposed to be stored
especially on a sandwich.
So it just depends on what you have. But a lot of times people put stuff in a refrigerator that is not necessarily meant to go there. So, but when you have a well-stocked pantry, it makes it pretty easy to go without power, or to go without starting your oven inside and being able to use the grill outside.
Yeah.
And I will say that having a grill without power is a saving grace.
It is, actually. You're right. I agree.
Because I don't care what you're trying to, it's...
Because we've been in that situation before. We've even been in the situation where a stove crapped out, and thankfully we had to grill.
Right.
And so until we got a new stove, and it wasn't that long. I think we had to, maybe about 3 days. But
what's funny though is you don't realize, and I know we talk about time from time to time on the show here, because doing a radio show and you have to talk for an hour can either be a really, really long period of time, or it can be no time at all. And the last 2 minutes of any show can be really fast, or, sitting here excruciating if you don't have anything to say. But when you have to go without something... I don't think
that's ever been a problem here on this show.
But anyway,
go ahead.
I can talk. We had a water issue in our last house.
Yeah.
So we didn't have hot water for, I think, 11 days.
Ooh.
And I will tell you,
that
when something as simple as the dog drooled all over my hands, I'm going to go wash my hands. The water is ice cold.
Yeah.
It makes it a very, very long, and when you're not the kind of person who doesn't want to impose on other people to shower or wash your clothes or do, you can wash your clothes in cold water, but you never realize how many things you want hot water for until you don't have hot water.
And
then
you're
the
dead
last
on. Yeah.
4 days, because we were waiting for a part for our hot water heater, the last few days of it, not only did we not have any hot water, but our well pump went out. So we didn't have any water.
Oh, no.
Until they could get us in to replace our well pump the following Monday. So we went like a solid week or so without hot water. And then we went 4 or 3 days without any water at all. We have a bottled water service. So we went, like, we were literally using those big 5-gallon jugs to refill our toilets, to be able to flush our toilets.
Man.
And like everything you think of that you never realize how much you use
water
something
for,
so simple as running water in a modern society until you don't have it.
Until you don't have it.
And to think that there's a lot of places around the world that don't have it.
Yeah.
They just don't.
It's hard to imagine because we take that.
Right.
Because I've been in that situation. Like we had a part that the little igniter thing for the hot water heater went out not too long, a few months ago. And so it didn't take us 11 days, but it was like probably about 3-4 days before the guy was able to get out there. But you talk about a short shower.
Yeah. You try taking a cold shower. It's going to be a quick one.
Oh, it was icy.
Try taking a short shower with hair that's 6 feet long.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a fun one. I was not a happy camper.
Yeah.
But when you have quick recipes like this, especially like when you don't have power and you're wanting a real meal and you have, spaghetti and meatballs to be able to cook on the grill. Those are fun recipes to have in your repertoire, especially if you have kids.
Yeah.
Because kids absolutely love to get involved. So to give somebody the ability, if your kid is safe around a grill, to be able to turn the little tiny meatballs on the grill, because they don't have to be on super high heat. You're not cooking steaks. So those kinds of things are a lot of fun, especially when your kids are bored and haven't had power and they don't have TV and everything else that they normally want to keep them. I mean, now we have phones and they're all mobile data, so it doesn't really matter. But having quick meals, especially when you have a stocked pantry. So my pantry is loaded with canned beans, like black beans, navy beans, red beans, garbanzo beans, which are also
you're
chickpeas.
Like the Forrest Gump of beans.
Well, I mean, just a bean salad
black
is tasty.
Beans, navy beans.
You make a good salad dressing and a bean salad.
Yeah.
I always
I like garbanzo beans. I forgot about garbanzo beans.
If you like hummus, that's what hummus is just ground up blended garbanzo.
I do like hummus. I like hummus, and I do like the garbanzo beans in a salad. I do like that.
See, you should take garbanzo beans and a can of Rotel, get yourself some tahini sauce, and throw it in a blender, and it'll make you your own spicy hummus.
Well, there we go. That's a new thing to try.
That's it. You crack open a can of beans, you drain them, you put a can of Rotel that's spicy. But I always have Rotel in my cabinet because I make a spicy. So my friend Sue just chimed in. Seen pictures of her pantry. Her pantry is, I think, about as big as my house. And it is well stocked. She could probably, if I told her I needed to have a party catered for 300 people and I'm going to be there tomorrow, she would be ready for it. The woman can pump out some seriously good food.
Wow.
But I always have, canned vegetables, fruit juices, breakfast cereals, peanut butter, grains, nuts, crackers, snack bars, and then shelf-stable milks like coconut milk, almond milk, those kinds of things make it so that you have the ability to make just about anything you want, especially if you have a grill and you've got stocks, broths, coconut milk, almond milk. You can make anything you want just by having a grill with no power and no refrigeration. But like I said, my spicy corn salad, I make that frequently. So whatever vegetables, if I can get them fresh, then I chop up onions, red peppers, green peppers. If you like spicy, some jalapenos, some Rotel, and then whatever salad dressing I want, whether it's a creamy dressing like for potato salads, poppy seed for sweetness. You can put just about anything you want it. Same with white bean and apple salads. And I mean, white beans are white beans, but you can use garbanzo beans or any kind of bean that you want. So the sky's the limit when you have a well-stocked pantry, whether you don't want to turn on your oven or you don't have power. Either way, it's super fantastic to be able to pull that creative side out of anything. I absolutely adore it. And I tell people who don't like to cook, maybe your kids like to cook. Let them be the creative one. Ask them what they would make.
Yeah.
You go to the pantry, what would you make? You know, obviously you have to be the parent and correct them if they want to add some things together that don't necessarily go together.
I like garbanzo beans and Oreos.
Hey, man, I bet you any money if you went home and blended those together, you'd be like, this is the best hummus ever.
I don't know. I was just
Chocolate
making that
hummus?
up.
You never know. They probably make it.
Maybe.
There's probably somewhere out there that makes chocolate hummus.
I've never been a fan of the sweet hummuses. I've tried a couple.
I don't either. I can't.
Like the honey hummus and some other things.
No, I'm there with you. I can't do those. That's just a texture
No.
that's not up my alley.
Yeah, not for this. I prefer a spicy or, it's spicy, kind of like a hot hummus.
One of my favorites to make. I'm not one that is big on the whole avocado train.
Ooh,
I like avocados.
I'm not on the avocado train at all.
But I had avocados on my sandwich last night, and I'll put avocado, but I like the hot avocados or avocado toast. I'm not a fan of any of that kind of stuff.
There you go.
Yeah, see, Aldi sells chocolate hummus.
Huh. All right.
Hard pass.
Yeah.
But I will say that I make an avocado hummus that is really, really, really tasty. It's just garlic avocado hummus. That's probably the only thing other than a salad or a sandwich that I use avocado on. I'm just not I don't know. They taste okay. I don't get the big hype about it.
I don't like avocado. I really don't. I hate guacamole. I cannot stand guacamole.
See, that's where we differ because I like it.
No, I'm not a fan. It's not as bad as bananas. I just do not like it. And
maybe it's a mushy texture thing that you don't like.
Well, that's very much a thing. I hate. Was it you I was talking to you? But I hate soft ice cream. I cannot stand it.
Yep.
I did have ice cream last night. I had pistachio, but it was hard. I mean, I had to put some effort into some of that. So into getting it out. In fact, Mary Catherine had to help because I couldn't hold the thing and scoop it out with my freaking broken wrist. So
that's funny.
Yeah. So she had to help me get my ice cream out because it's so hard. But,
so I wanted to share, speaking of garbanzo beans and chickpeas and hummus, a chickpea salad that is amazingly tasty. A can of drained chickpeas. I personally use a tablespoon of Dax, nothing but ranch spice. So if you can't get a hold of Dax spices, you can use just about any other ranch spice if you like. Just keep in mind that if you are low sodium because you're watching the show, that most ranch blends have a lot of salt in them. So you have to get your hands on a no sodium ranch blend, which you can go to Dax.com and get it from them. DaxSpices.com, I think. Half a purple onion chopped, 2 tablespoons of mayo, 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard, 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, 2 teaspoons of fresh dill, and I put an 1/8 teaspoon of ground turmeric. I just eyeball it because I like turmeric. And then black pepper. And mix it up and put it on a sandwich, kind of like chicken salad sandwich.
Okay. All right.
Because when you mix it up, you kind of crush the chickpeas a little bit. So it almost looks like a chicken or a tuna salad.
No.
And either just eat it with crackers, eat it on a wrap, or eat it on a sandwich with some cheese.
Now that I'm inclined to try.
It is. I'll bring some in. I'll have to make you some chickpea salad and then bring it in next week.
Well, I mean, you just gave me the recipe, but if you want to do that, that's fine.
Well, unless you're going to have Mary Catherine make it for you.
I could probably figure it out. I'm not inept.
You need to TikTok it.
I am not inept in the kitchen. If you guys have seen my TikToks, it's always usually me making something very, very simple.
Like a bologna sandwich.
Yeah.
Bread sandwich. Done.
Follow me for more recipes.
Oh.
So
Well, we're getting here at the end of the hour.
yeah, but oh my goodness, we're coming right up on the last minute here. We're actually done.
So we will see you next week on Thursday. Please subscribe to our YouTube for 216 The Net and My LoSo Lifestyle. The more subscribers we have, the more luxuries we get within the YouTube realm. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube and .com and all over the place. And we'll see you next week.
Awesome, we sure will. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Mary, thanks for another great show. We'll catch you guys later. And we are.